Hello and welcome back to yet another video in the series of FIVM discussions. Today we are going to talk about linearization, both material and geometric tangents. So let's dive in. So in order to consider the final energy equation or the weak form of momentum balance equations which we have already seen, we first talked about the variations, admissible variations in the shell configuration. We have defined shell configuration in a particular way through phi map and T, that is director map, through SO3 and S square relationship. So using all of that, we can write basically the elements of tangent space of the shell configuration. At a particular shell configuration, we can write the tangent space of that, and that defines the variations in phi and t. So we get delta phi and delta t, and these variations will basically cause other variations to occur, like variation in the strains, and that will cause, if some force component is there, that will cause a change in the energy of the shell, and in that manner we can basically write the energy equation of the shell, as we have already seen over here in the weak form of the momentum balance equation. So G dyne represents, which is in terms of phi comma delta phi. Phi is the shell configuration and this is the variation in the shell configuration. So in terms of these two, we write the energy equation, or you can call it energy functional, or you can also call it weak form of momentum equations, because this can be viewed in multiple ways. It can also be viewed as if it is coming from directly the momentum balance equations by just multiplying the variation quantities, or independently also through stress power. We have seen this equation can be seen to be coming out. So G of phi comma delta phi is representing the static part, and this is representing the dynamic part. So these terms were coming on the right hand side in the momentum balance equations, and n alpha comma alpha and m tilde alpha comma alpha, those terms were coming in the left hand side of the momentum balance equations, which we can see in the static part of the weak form over here. And it also includes the applied the work done, virtual work done by the external forces, external loading, which is included over here, and it is written like this. So n double bar and m double bar are the prescribed force and torque on the boundary of the shell, and those are mentioned in the weak formulation over here. So now we have this weak formulation. What is next? So please note that we are always writing the variation quantities with this small delta sign, and in the next step now we are going to do linearization. There also we need to write a similar quantity, not same, and that we will write with capital delta sign. So please note, keep note of this important difference. So here we have all the variation quantities, and now we have the expression of the energy, or the small change in energy which has happened due to this virtual displacements of the shell configuration. Now these expressions, the quantities over here, this is a scalar equation in terms of the force resultants and moment resultants, which are forces, and moments, which are vector quantities, and their dot product is taken with the variation vector quantities, and hence this whole thing is a scalar equation. But now we are going to resolve these stress resultants and moment resultants in terms of some components which are resolved along the convected basis. So from this equation 6.8, when we substitute them with resolved quantities along certain components, certain frame of reference which we have chosen as convected basis in displacement formulation and as a orthogonal director frame in the mixed variation formulation, which we will see later on. So we then get this equation in terms of the components which are resolved along the convected basis suited for the fully displacement formulation. Now from our VAM basically we are going to get these relationships: n tilde beta alpha, m tilde beta alpha and q tilde alpha in terms of stress result strains. Please remember that we have the stress resultants from VAM which are resolved along the convected basis are not appearing directly over here, but here it is n tilde beta alpha, which is obtained through a different relationship, and that we utilize over here, which we have already seen in the derivation. So please keep note of this, otherwise we'll have erroneous results. So but it is all coming from a different source. It could be from VAM, it could be from other experiment or any other theory. So this is from an external source and we can substitute it over here, and it will be in terms of the 2D strains and curvatures, and it could be linear or it could be non-linear. So now if we look at this relationship, we can divide it into two kinds of terms. One is that which is coming from the constitutive equations, or which we can say forms as the material source, from the properties of the material basically. So all these stress resultants are coming from the material, so all the nonlinearity which is coming through from that, we call it as material nonlinearity. And then here the small delta a and other terms, these are strain terms, 2D strain terms, which are coming from the geometric point of view. They are related to the geometrical entities, so they form the geometrical nonlinearity. So there are two kinds of nonlinearity which we have to deal. So now we will see how to deal with this nonlinearity. So this is the topic of today's video, and we are going to talk about how to linearize them, because our problem is nonlinear and coupled. So if we want to solve it, we cannot solve it as it is. We have to first linearize it, that is the standard process, and for doing the linearization we have to form a tangent field. Like when we write the expression of any nonlinear function in a Taylor series kind of expansion, we have to write the value of the function at a starting point or known point plus the derivative of that function times a small change in that value of the variable, and that is the expression of Taylor. And then there are other higher order terms which we can ignore for small values of that change, and then it is basically solved. Now in order to consider the linearization, or you can say is expression similar kind, an expression which is similar to Taylor series kind of expansion, we need to consider a family of configurations which can be parameterized through a single parameter, in this case epsilon. So epsilon is a single parameter which can parameterize all the shell configurations which are related to a particular shell configuration. So we write phi epsilon as this, which belongs to the family of all the configurations of the shell, and it should satisfy certain properties which will enable us to be used as an appropriate incremental tangent field of the shell configuration. So we write phi epsilon at epsilon is equal to 0 as that same shell configuration at which it was earlier. And second property, derivative of the new shell configuration phi epsilon with respect to epsilon should give us delta phi. So here in the energy equation, as we have this which is nonlinear and we want to linearize this, the energy of the shell is actually a nonlinear function of all the quantities of shell variations and then strains and all other things. So we want to basically write a Taylor series expression for that, and delta phi is a variable. So if we consider an incremental change in the shell configuration, we call it as delta phi, and it should lie in the tangent space of the family of shell configurations. So delta phi belongs to this tangent space. Then we can write each individual. First we need to characterize that the change in shell configuration should satisfy these two properties. So we consider the change in the phi map as this: phi epsilon is equal to phi plus epsilon delta phi, and t epsilon is exponential of epsilon delta t. This relation we have already seen before. So the mid surface is parameterized in this manner, and the director vector is parameterized in this manner. Now before moving on, it will be good to be very clear actually on this expression. This is actually a directional or incremental tangent field. It has got a particular direction in the tangent space of the shell in the family of shell configurations, but we'll be using this relationship repeatedly to write the directional derivative of various terms, because in the energy equation we have strains coming in through these, and we have the whole g, which is the energy functional, coming in, and we want to write a directional derivative of this g and also of the other terms like strains and all which are coming in. So if we see what is the relationship of directional derivative, so you can see delta a epsilon a alpha beta is representing that directional derivative. So how it is written is just in the similar way as we wrote delta capital phi. We need to write the parameterized form of the strains as a function of epsilon parameter. So this is a alpha beta parameterized and take its derivative with respect to epsilon. So this can be viewed as derivative of a alpha beta epsilon with respect to phi and then multiplied by d phi by d epsilon. Similarly, if we want to write the directional derivative of g, fresh directional derivative, then it is nothing but parameterized g. So first we parameterize g in terms of phi epsilon and its variation, and then take derivative with respect to epsilon at epsilon is equal to 0, and this whole thing is representing the directional derivative, and it can be viewed as this dg dot del phi. What it means is d by d phi of g dot delta phi. So dg by d phi will give a general derivative, and when we take its dot product with a directional vector delta phi, that gives us the derivative in that particular direction. So when we cause a increment in the shell configuration delta phi, what is the corresponding change in the energy functional in that particular direction, or what is the energy change corresponding to that particular directional change? and similarly what is the corresponding change in the strains in according to corresponding to that particular directional change in the shell configuration. So these two quantities which we have over here, we will come back to this again. Now let us look at the shell configuration itself. The parameterized phi map and t map can be written as this. T we have written using the exponential map, and in order to be in order for these to be valid parameterized expressions, they should follow this relationship. So at epsilon is equal to 0, this should be 0. So we can see directly here, if we put epsilon is equal to 0, we get the original configuration. Similarly, if we put epsilon is equal to 0 over here, then this whole thing becomes 0 and we get t back over here. Okay, so or you can look into the detailed expression here. If you put epsilon is equal to 0, so uh, this term will get cancelled out and this will become just t, so we'll get t back. And if we consider d phi epsilon by d epsilon, then what we will have is just this delta phi over here. Okay, so this is satisfied. At epsilon is equal to 0, we get both of these, and when the derivatives are considered, we get here delta phi, and when we consider derivative of t epsilon, we get delta t. So both of these conditions have been satisfied, and now we can consider this as a valid delta capital phi map, or rather directional increment, okay, which is lying in the tangent space of the shell of configuration, family of configurations. So and also later on we will need to write the derivatives of those quantities also, so those also can be written down over here. Next, if we write the expressions of the strains, so this I have written in detail little bit over here. Yeah, so if we consider the expression of a parameterized alpha beta, we can write it as this, because we have its expression in terms of phi comma alpha dot of phi comma beta, so we can write it like this. And if we expand it out, first term is giving us the original strain value, and the next two terms are the linear terms in epsilon. So and then there are higher order terms, so these two terms are the ones which correspond to delta A alpha beta, which means the directional change in the or directional derivative of the strain terms, because it is the change in the strains which is corresponding to this particular directional change in the shell configuration. So it is a directional change in the strains, not any general change. It is a directional change in the strains. Similarly, delta gamma alpha and delta kappa alpha beta can also be obtained as it is given over here. Also, please note that these expressions, which are also given in table 1 on page number 289, these expressions are the expressions of the strains for a particular shell configuration, which can be characterized through phi and t. Okay, so these are geometrically exact and it represents the true state of strain in a shell at a general configuration. So it is written purely in terms of phi and t, basically phi derivatives and t derivatives. So but it is just purely from phi and t mappings. So this is geometrically exact, but we want to consider the change in that strain, or if we consider the strain at a particular epsilon configuration. So in terms of epsilon, if we see, this whole relationship is non-linear, and in order to consider a linearized model, in order to do the linearization, in order to be able to solve this with FEM, we need to linearize. So hence we are considering these linearized strains over here. Also, please note that an important difference between this theory and the other theories is that here we are writing the expressions of these strains in terms of phi. Phi basically we can consider it as, or delta phi can be considered as u, which we have in the usual strain expressions, strain displacement expressions. But the other quantity which we have there is theta, or the change in the angle of, change the orientation of the normal vector. But here we have the director vector itself t appearing in the expressions of the strains. This is the important difference, and that is why these relations are looking quite simpler as compared to those where we have such large expressions. Okay, so if we have some other expression of strains in terms of u and theta, is it not possible to bring those here? It is possible, but we need to write first the expression of delta t or t in terms of theta, and then only we can bring in those relationships over here. But since this is also geometrically exact, we can use these relationships directly. Please note, by saying that we are considering the directional change in the strain, we are actually considering the linear term of, in terms of epsilon parameter. We have an epsilon parameter which is causing a change in the shell configuration, or not necessarily change, it is forming a Taylor series expansion of the shell configuration at a particular value of epsilon, and in that we are considering the linear term of epsilon. But when will be solving through FEM, all these relationships will be whatever our fundamental variables are delta phi and delta t. So we are basically going to solve for delta phi and delta t, and we are having here the derivatives of all those terms appearing here. So basically we will be converting all these variables into just delta phi and delta t. So all the derivatives will be expressed, so that we'll eliminate the derivative terms and we have something as a coefficient of delta phi and delta t. So these are still nonlinear expressions, and that is where from this geometrical nonlinearity is coming into picture. So this will be considered in little more detail later on when we look at the geometric tangent. Okay, so moving away from the usual flow of the paper as it is there, let us also look at the other matrix differential operators which are basically defining these same terms which we have just seen: delta A alpha beta, delta gamma alpha, and delta kappa alpha beta. So since we just wrote the expressions of these terms over here in terms of delta phi comma alpha and dot phi comma beta, like that, so these matrix differential operators are basically representing those relationships only. So Bm times, if you can see here, Bm times delta phi is representing delta A beta alpha. Similarly, Bsm delta phi plus Bsb delta t is representing delta gamma alpha, and Bbm delta phi plus Bbb delta t is representing delta kappa beta alpha. All these operators are given over here. Now a question arises that here we have written the expression of big delta A alpha beta and likewise for other strains, but here we are seeing the small delta A alpha beta as being represented by Bm small delta phi. Why is this difference? So actually, if we look at the equation number 6.11 which we have over here, which we are actually solving. So we have this as the expression. So let us read this equation again. It is written as n tilde beta alpha times half delta small delta a beta alpha, and likewise other terms. Now how we are going to linearize this is like this. So first we consider this as a nonlinear term. So this is nonlinear and this we treat as a constant term. Okay, and then so that will form as the material tangent term. Okay, and then we consider this as a constant term, and this we take linearization. So we'll apply delta operator over this, and this we keep as constant, exactly as it is being shown over here. So you can see this is the change in G, or you can say directional change in G corresponding to a incremental change in shell configuration. So basically the geometric tangent. So this has all these terms held as constant, the force resultant and moment resultants, and capital delta or linearization is applied on the variation of the strains. Okay, please note that this is the linearization of the variation of the strains, and when we consider the material tangent, we write it like this. By the way, we have first our functional given as over here. It is the same equation which is given in 6.11. Oops. Like here. Okay, same equation. The strains are variational quantities and multiplied with n alpha beta, n tilde beta alpha. So that is represented over here with r tilde. Okay, and these are the strain quantities. So in the material tangent, which is the directional change of G with respect to a incremental change in shell configuration, and its material tangent is written like this. Keep this part as constant, the variation in strain is held as constant, and multiplied with the directional change in just this r vector, which is nonlinear, and here this delta phi, capital delta phi, comes into picture. So this we will see how we will write this. So this is in part 3, by the way. Now let us come back to part 1, where we were looking at these expressions of delta, small delta of strain. So these are considered over here. Okay, and we have not yet linearized this equation. This equation is same as this equation, just that we have introduced matrix differential operators to represent these strain quantities, but still it is a nonlinear equation. Now after this we are going to linearize this by separating NQM and for the material tangent and the other terms for the geometric tangent terms. Now as we know that it is easier to, for structural problems, it is easier to work in the reference configuration. So that is why all the stress resultants and moment resultants are actually pulled back into the reference frame, so which is phi naught. Now if we look at this picture, we have an initial or undeformed shell configuration, and we have a deformed shell configuration. So right now we are at this configuration, which is the deformed configuration, or at an intermediate shell configuration. Now we have a force resultant or stress or moment resultant acting in this particular configuration, and since it is resolved along the convected basis, that means it is along these coordinate lines. Okay, the stress resultant is resolved along these coordinate lines. Now since we don't want to work in spatial configurations, which is this, but we want to work in material configuration, which is this, which is the original undeformed configuration. So what we do is we pull back this vector, which is stress resultant expressed in this convected basis, to these. There will be a corresponding point for all the points in this shell configuration, and we can basically make a pullback operation which will bring in all these stress resultants expressed in this coordinate this basis, convected basis, which is a naught alpha, a naught beta, or phi naught comma alpha comma phi naught comma beta. Here it is expressed in terms of phi comma alpha comma phi comma beta convected basis, but now we are bringing it back over to this convected basis, okay, which is in the original undeformed shell configuration, and that we write is as with capital N, capital M and capital Q, and these spatial configuration parameters we write as small n, small m and small q. So the only difference in these to this is a factor of j, and that we bring over there. So basically we are not changing the force is still acting in the current configuration, and its magnitude is what is there in the current configuration. Only thing is that we are now representing that force in the convected basis, which is corresponding to the original undeformed shell configuration. So the force is belonging to the current configuration, or the means the we have not changed actually the force vector, so only its representation is changed, and that changes its representation in the symbol is now capitalized. So as you can see in this part 3, it is mentioned in little more detail. We had n tilde alpha beta, which is equal to n tilde beta alpha, and similarly m tilde beta alpha and q tilde alpha also terms. We had those terms, and those were along the convected basis of the deformed shell configuration. So you can imagine it like this. It was n tilde alpha beta a alpha tensor product a beta. Okay, similarly q will be q tilde alpha a alpha, and m will be m tilde alpha beta a alpha tensor product a beta. Now with the now here same he is talking this, by the way, this is in part 3, this page number 29, and here again by doing the same thing is explained again. By doing this pullback operation to the reference state, we can write these values as n tilde is equal to j f inverse times n tilde f inverse transpose, and like this, and these can be attributed to the convected basis operation. So using this expression a alpha is equal to f times a alpha naught, we can basically get these expressions. So just a change of factor of j, and we get the same quantities in the undeformed configuration. So coming back to this same page in part 1, we have these n, q, m capitalized, expressed in terms of the small case n, q and m tilde quantities, and with a factor of j. And when we do that, other quantities like you can see over here d mu, this is also expressed in the reference configuration, it is d mu naught. Okay, so this is what we do as part of the transformation, and then what remains is just the linearization into two parts, material and geometric tangent. So now we have all the input material ready for doing the linearization. We write this all of these matrix differential operators, combining them all into this B, big B, and it is a 8 cross 5 matrix, and this is the revised version of equation 6.11, again same nonlinear equation expressed in terms of this matrix differential operators and dotted with r vector, and this whole thing is in now undeformed configuration, and that's how we have now this updated expression of energy functional variational energy functional. Okay, and this we are going to now linearize. So here this is little bit more elaborative process and little difficult to understand. We'll instead go back to part 3 again and look at this derivation in a more clearer way. So ultimately what we are solving, we are basically solving a D problem, or what we call as displacement formulation problem. We could also have M problem or mixed formulation problem, where there would be an additional step to bring in from M to D. Okay, whereas right now we are directly solving the D problem. In a membrane, in a mixed formulation, we have additional variables of R, N, M, etc. to be solved in terms of these variables phi, and then those would be substituted back for each element. This will be solved for each element, and then it will be substituted to form this problem, and then this will be solved. So we are right now at this problem, and we'll be talking about this problem right now. So basically we are going to employ a Newton scheme to solve this problem. So we are going to write, we can consider a shell configuration phi k, and in that we are going to linearize. Okay, we have, when we are applying the variation, we are saying that we want to solve for that configuration which gives its first variation as 0. Okay, so that means this whole quantity is representing the first variation, and it is nonlinear, so we have linearized this by considering the first term as this plus the derivative of, or you can say call it tangent, okay, a directional derivative along this particular direction delta phi k, and that total is the first variation, and that should be 0 for the system to be in equilibrium or energy, its entire energy to be minimum. And then we solve basically for this change in shell configuration. Okay, so please note that this is not the variation in the shell configuration, this is the linearized value. So variation parameters are going to be held as constant, so that is giving us a variation in the energy field, and that variation in the energy field we're calling it as first variation, and that should be constant. That variation should be 0, should be minimum, should be 0. Okay, and this capital delta phi is the linearized value. We basically want to solve for that change in the shell configuration which corresponds to minimum energy change. That is what is translated as first variation being equal to 0. So that comes under delta phi k, and we solve for that, and we start with this given phi k configuration, and we solve for delta phi k, and then we update the shell configuration to from phi k to phi k plus 1 with this recently solved value, and check for the convergence. So this is called as moving along the equilibrium path, and that way we can translate the entire equilibrium path. Let us also quickly look at the configuration changes which are happening in the process. So we have a kth configuration of the shell phi k, which is represented by this dk comma tk. Dk is representing the mid surface, which is a 3 cross 1 vector, and tk is representing the director vector. So this is belong to R3 cross S square. Okay, and lambda is the matrix which is relating to that through Euclidean space. And when we solve for the change in this delta phi, which we solve, and that can be broken down into these two, delta d and delta capital T. This is in Euclidean space, and then we update both of these, mid surface and the director vector, and we update the lambda transformation matrix. So this is the process of solving. Let us look at in little more detail in this box. So we first solve for delta t, or rather delta capital T we solve, and through the relation t is equal to lambda e, the director vector in the spatial configuration is related to this lambda orthogonal matrix, and that same matrix also relates the elements of tangent space in the SE square and the S square unit sphere. So this is lying in the SE square and this is lying in the unit sphere tangent space. So like T is equal to lambda E, lambda relates T and E. Similarly, lambda also relates the elements of tangent spaces of SE square and S square. So by solving, we are solving actually this. It is a 5 by 1 system, 3 in this and basically 3 here and 2 over here. So total 5 by 1 degree of freedom system. So we are solving for these 5, and from those 5 we take just 2 and get these. This is a Euclidean space vector quantity in the tangent space of Euclidean space of SE square, and this we use to solve for the corresponding quantities in the spatial configuration, and that we use to update the director vector using this exponential map and this recently solved delta t values. Okay, we have already learned about this in the geometric preliminaries, and then we get this updated director vector, and also we also solve for the corresponding change in the rotation matrix. So that is also solved in terms of the same delta t quantities. Okay, and that will update our lambda k. So the lambda which was relating to E with T, that lambda is now updated to relate the new director with the same E vector. So now this is lambda k plus 1, which is delta lambda times lambda, and again on a different calculation we also update the mid surface vectors. Dk plus 1 is equal to dk plus delta d. This is just the update in the displacement vector. So this is how we update the entire algorithm, and there are lots of calculations involved, and exponential map basically which is relating the SO3 group with the S square manifold is very useful in this. If we just look at the position of the director vectors in this picture, which is given in part 3, here this is the original position of the director vector, and when it is first rotated, the corresponding change in the orthogonal matrix is delta lambda naught, and it rotates this director vector along this geodesic and gives t1, and then that t1 is rotated to tk from through this geodesic. Okay, and corresponding lambda dash is corresponding delta lambda is delta lambda 1, and then this director vector is rotated to tk plus 1 through delta lambda k. So at all of these director vectors are actually related to E vector through corresponding lambda matrices. So lambda matrices are constantly being updated along with delta lambda calculations. Now let us look at the equation, which is this weak form equation and expressed in terms of matrix differential operators, and it is a nonlinear equation, and we are going to linearize this now. So We are going to break this into two parts. First will be the geometric, or let's say first will be material tangent, and the second will be the geometric tangent. So basically this is the equation of G, okay, which we have to solve. Okay, its first variation equal to 0 we have to solve. So that first variation is actually nothing but the directional derivative, okay, of G along this delta phi plus G is equal to 0. That is the equation which we have to solve. So in that directional derivative term we are writing over here as this. So this is now broken down into these two parts, and now let us look at individually both of these contributions. So first the material tangent operator. So as we have, we can see, we can keep this equation aside. So we have these two terms. So this is the variation of the strain and this is the stress resultant terms. So when we are considering material tangent, we are saying that this to be constant and this will be nonlinear, so we are going to linearize this. So that is why this directional derivative we are writing it as this term held as constant, and we are applying directional derivative only on the second term. Okay, so this is the whole expression of the material tangent, and now in this paper it is assumed that the stress resultants are linear functions of the corresponding 2D strains. So that is why they are writing this relationship, directional derivative of the stress resultants, directly as this CB. C is the matrix which is relating to the 2D strains, stress resultants as related to the 2D strains, CB times delta phi delta T. So when they substitute over here, they get this simplistic expression, whereas in our case VAM, since we have material nonlinearity also, that means our VAM expressions are nonlinear functions of the strains, 2D strains. So we are going to have this C also nonlinear, okay, nonlinear function of the 2D strains. So this relationship, equation number 5.5, will not be so simplistic. Instead there will be some more terms. We need to consider the derivative of C first and keep this as constant, plus C times derivative of this. Like that we have to proceed. So here I am going to present a small derivation of the same thing. Okay. So this is a different slide, not in the paper. This is our own derivation which I and Avinash have done together. So here we have the stress resultant expressed as C of A. A we are calling as the strain vector, entire 8 by 1 vector. C of A, C as a function of A dotted with A. So A is 8 by 1 vector. So this can cover any kind of expression of R, because all the nonlinearity we are capturing within C, and one 8 by 1 vector we are keeping out to make it, to keep it in a standard format. So C of A is nonlinear and A is just a strain vector 8 by 1, which can be represented like this over here. Then we consider this shell configuration like this, okay, and A epsilon is equal to A naught plus epsilon delta I. This we have already seen in the part 1, like over here. Okay, so delta of all these strain values is like this. So now we can write R, capital R, as C of A, okay, dot with A. So A can be written as B of phi. B is the same matrix differential operator set and at a particular shell configuration phi. Okay, so now we want to write the linearized R, okay, by considering the nonlinearities. present in the expression of R. So basically we have this expression. So we want to write the material tangent. So this part we have kept as constant, and here we are applying linearization. So this part in the paper they have written while keeping C as constant, but now we are going to make this also variable. So we'll have two parts. This whole thing on the left hand side of equation 5.5 we are calling as delta R, capital delta R. Okay, and this will be actually delta R1 plus delta R2, like over here. Delta R will be finally coming as delta R1 plus delta R2, and what they have considered is just one of these, that is they have considered delta R2 only, that is this term, which is CB delta phi. They have considered this term CB delta phi. This term they have considered, but we are going to consider one more term which is corresponding to dC by d epsilon. That means the change in or derivative of C also. Okay, so this whole derivation is there to find out that contribution of delta R. So let us do it again, come back here. So we have the expression of capital delta R is nothing but in the same way how we wrote delta A and delta G, like those terms. So we have delta R is equal to dr by d epsilon. R we parameterize in terms of the epsilon parameter, and we just take the derivative with respect to epsilon. So this can be written as dr by d phi epsilon dotted with d phi epsilon by d epsilon at both at epsilon is equal to 0. So this term becomes delta phi, capital delta phi, and this term becomes dr by d phi epsilon. So delta R becomes dr by d phi epsilon times delta phi. So basically this expression is the expression of R, and this we have to differentiate with respect to phi epsilon. So, or rather we can say just with respect to epsilon when we express everything in terms of epsilon. So we first write the expression of A in terms of A naught plus epsilon delta A, and phi as phi naught plus epsilon delta A. Okay, and then we simply do dr by d epsilon. So we'll get dc by d epsilon dot with this term held constant, applying just the product rule, plus c of A naught plus epsilon delta A dot with b delta phi. Okay, then put epsilon is equal to 0, so we get dc by d epsilon b of phi naught plus c of A naught dotted with b of delta phi, and then dc by d epsilon. Here we have both A naught and delta A terms. Okay, because the expression of C is nonlinear, so when we substitute within C A and A naught, we will, because of the nonlinearity, by just making epsilon is equal to 0, all the delta A terms won't go away, because there are some non-linear terms also. So we will have dc by d epsilon as a function of A naught and capital delta A. Then this will be dotted with b of phi naught plus c of A naught b delta phi. This term we can ignore because this is the same as what they have also given, which is this term. So let us focus mainly on the first term. So we have come this far. Now b of phi naught is nothing but A naught. Okay, so we can simply write it as A naught, and so delta R becomes dc by d epsilon as a function of A naught and delta A dotted with A naught plus other terms. Now the point to note here is that there is a delta A, capital delta A is struck inside this matrix. This is a matrix and this is a matrix multiplication, and by just doing some matrix operations this delta A cannot come out. Okay, so we need to do a tensorial operation. So what we do here is we simply write this derivative in terms of the index notation. and that way we take this a naught inside and bring out this capital delta A outside, and that will get combined with this second term very easily. So this is the initial notation expression. You can see that it is expressed in terms of I as a free index, and here J is the repeated index, Q is the repeated index, and T is the repeated index, and A is to be substituted as A naught because this is whole thing as A naught. After delta A has come out, what we are left with in this matrix is only in terms of A naught, so we substitute A as A naught, and these terms are then added together according to the rule given here, and what we get this whole thing as C dash. Okay, so this is del Cij by del Aq. Q is I and Q are the free indices, J is a repeated index. So this is the relationship which we simply add to the already given delta R2 term, and what we get as B transpose C plus C dash B. So that delta A which has come out from here is actually written over here as B delta phi. Okay, and this A naught is actually this AJ, and this will go inside. So this is written over here. So that will get uh, added up within C dash, and what we get is C dash B delta phi. So this was C B delta phi and this is C dash B delta phi. So what we get finally as this matrix, as we can see over here, that this is C B delta phi, and what we get from the first term is C dash B delta phi. So when we combine the terms, we get B transpose C plus C dash B delta phi. Please note that the first bracket over here is corresponding to the variational quantities, which is small delta phi, small delta capital T, and the second bracket is corresponding to the linearized quantities, capital delta phi and capital delta capital T. This is happening because this term is intact as it was there before. It is simply come here, and this here it was a dot product, so that's why this has become a transpose, and this term has come on the left side and this B has become transposed over here on the right side, and this term is now C plus C dash times B delta phi delta T. So this we have already seen now. So this part C plus C prime dot del B delta phi delta T term, this comes over here, and that is how we get the entire material tangent operator. This thing we have already implemented in the Pheeb code, and it was running without any errors. So you will see when we look at the code implementation. Now we have the different matrix differential operators. We can break down the entire expression in this format, and all these things are very trivial. Now let us look at the geometric tangent operator, and as we have already seen this, the expression is quite simple. Here we just have the constants as these stress resultants and moment resultants, shear resultants, and we are applying now linearization on these variational strain quantities. Now in the going along with the same rule, the variational the linearized quantities of this variational of these strains is given by the same rule, d by d epsilon of these variational strains when expressed in the parameterized form at epsilon is equal to 0. So these relationships are derived in the appendix of this paper, and the final expressions of these are given over here. So when quantities are substituted in terms of the shape functions and all, then the final expressions which we get is like this, and those are given for us over here. Similarly for q tilde alpha delta of delta gamma alpha. So these will be substituted in the final equation, the geometric and material tangent operators. So we have now looked at all the theoretical aspects of this Kosarev-based shell theory, and now since we have developed all the aspects, now we can do the FEM implementation. So in the next video we are going to look at the FEM implementation. Thank you very much. Goodbye.